Beware the Ides of March. It's episode 23 of season 19 of Sports Den. Good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Hupp. Flying solo tonight, and it's March Madness. We had state tournament action in wrestling. We had state tournament action in swimming and diving. And we also had playoff action for girls basketball starting, boys basketball regular season wrapping up. And we'll have highlights from each one of those sports tonight on the episode of Sports Den. As girls basketball, the postseason got underway, and Centennial, the top seed in Section 7 4A, Blaine, the number 2 seed. So both of our teams with a good chance to advance, and Centennial got things started with a home game against Coon Rapids.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Centennial High School for CT.
The 4A quarterfinals, Coon Rapids visiting Centennial. Cardinals take the early lead on this deep three-pointer, but Marissa Frost playing defensive back here, intercepting a Cardinals pass and feeding Camille Cummings in transition. Then Cummings with the offensive rebound and the stick back off the missed three. More defense to offense for the Cougars as Cummings can't finish the transition layup, but KJ Tharp is there for the follow to give Centennial a double-digit lead. Later in the half, Macy Littlefield gets 4 of her 11 points on the hit ahead, and then the drive, gets her own miss and lays it back in. Littlefield, one of 4 scores in double figures. Camille Washburn with a fancy finger roll late in the first half for Coon Rapids. Early second half, Washburn steals it and feeds it to Caroline Browno, and the Cardinals are back within 6 early second half. Then Cummings uses the jump stop and pop for 2 as Centennial goes back up by 10 midway through the second half. Grace Pullman drills the corner 3 midway through the second half. Then they grab the offensive board and pop it around the perimeter. Littlefield out, kick near side for Littlefield, who steps back for the wide open triple. The Cougars cruise past the Cardinals in the playoff opener 65-46. They host Cambridge Isanti tomorrow night, a game that I and Blythe Whaley will be calling here from North Metro TV on Tuesday night. As you see, Jenny Nwamba led all scores for Coon Rapids with 21 points, but Centennial, the top seed, hosting the 4th-seeded Blue Jackets tomorrow night at home. They were led by Marissa Frost with 16. Camille Cummings had 15. And Macy Littlefield, as we said, had 11. So 65-46 your final. A very comfortable 19-point win as the top-seeded Cougars look to get back to the state tournament for the second time in as many years. As you look at the 7-4A girls bracket, Blaine also winners by 10 over Forest Lake earlier this week. So the 2-seeded Bengals play host to Andover. And all the seeds held true, as you see there, relatively comfortable fashion. Each one of the top 4 seeds advancing into the semifinals in section play, and a very real possibility that they could see a cat clash in the Section 7 4A finals. As Spring Lake Park, speaking of cat teams, also in action, hosting the Osseo Orioles in first round section play in the Section 5 4A quarterfinals. And Aaliyah Wilson gives the Orioles the early lead in transition. She'd lead all scorers on the night with 28 points. Then it's Brianna Gorish underneath for 2. Good interior passing by the Panthers. Cameron Smith, meanwhile, from the top of the key for 3 of her team high 16 points. And the Panthers had the lead. Jayla Bennett with a little turnaround in the lane gets the friendly roll off the iron. And Osseo stayed close. That's right, go Sports. In the second half, Spring Lake Park moving it around. Bella Such goes glass from the left block. And then midway through the second half, Osseo's Jalen Choi from the corner for one of her 2 threes in the game. But the Panthers would not be denied. Avery Dunbar hits the wide open 3 late. She'd finish with 16 points as well. Such gets into double digits with this late layup. SLP had 4 players in double figures. Panthers win it 60-47. They advance to the section semifinals to take on Roseville tomorrow night. As you see there, the 3rd seed over the 6th seed. Avery, Dunbar, and Smith led the way with 16 apiece. So tough task for the Panthers as they visit the Raiders of Roseville tomorrow night. We'll have highlights for you next week on Sports Den, our next episode of Sports Den, as we take a look at the girls basketball bracket. Top 4 seeds advance in Section 5 as well. Maple Grove will be a tough out. They beat Centennial twice this season. Spring Lake Park, before they get to face the Crimson potentially, they have to get by the Roseville Raiders tomorrow night in what should be a fun game in Section 5. And it's not just the girls who are continuing to play hoops. Girls are entering postseason play, but last week it was the boys who were finishing up their regular season action. Seedings came out on Saturday, and we'll show you the brackets later in the show. But the regular season wrapped up last week, and thankfully we were on hand to witness a historic event as Spring Lake Park said goodbye to their legendary head coach, Grant Guzzi. Here's Coach Guzzi, 30 years in charge of the Panthers, more than 400 wins, still got it, still energetic, prowling those sidelines. As early in the first half, Nick Ogile drills it from deep and holds the follow through. Rebels would answer back with a 3 of their own from Luke Graff. Then tied at 11, Peyton Thompson tries one of his trademark downtown triples. And if 1 is good, 2 is better. Thompson on the next trip from the same spot, and SLP would never trail again. Alex Gamber trying to keep CP in it with the equivalent of a greasy goal in hockey. It was a touching tribute at halftime as speeches were made, and Coach Guzzi was awarded with a special plaque. All of his players, ex-players that were in attendance, many of them came out on the court as well, as Ogile dials it up with a triple again. He'd shoot 50% from beyond the arc and finished with 15. Peyton Thompson, meanwhile, from the left corner for 3. He'd finish with 16, 1 of 3 Panthers in double figures. Even the big center, Stephen Kesty, gets into the act with a baseline J. Hugs all around for Coach Guzzi from one of his many former players in attendance as he picks up win number 420 in his illustrious coaching career. And he somehow didn't make the highlights, but Logan Kinsey shot 15 of 22 from the field and finished with an absurd line of 33 points, 18 rebounds, and 6 assists. So a real stat sheet stuffer for Logan Kinsey. As you see, just a great night all around. Panthers led from pillar to post, and they were never troubled as they won 2 straight to end the regular season and enter the postseason with a bit of momentum as we look at the Section 5A, 5-4A boys basketball bracket. And there you see the Panthers with the 6th seed facing off against Maple Grove. We'll have that for you as well on Wednesday from Maple Grove. Top seed will be tough to beat though. Park Center, the Pirates, the top team in Class 4A. They'll take on Champlain Park in game number 1, but pretty good 1 and 2 seeds as Spring Lake Park has lost to both. As we turn our attention to Section 7, 4A, and over the top seed, Blaine gets the 5 seed. They'll travel up to Duluth to play the Greyhounds with a potential chance to play Andover on the road. Coon Rapids, the 2 seed. Centennial gets the 3 seed, so the Cougars will have a home game against Forest Lake, and we'll have that for you on North Metro TV. And the goal, obviously, for all of these teams is to try to make it to the state tournament. And the state tournament throughout the end of February and early March, state tournaments have been played throughout, and that included in wrestling, as the wrestling teams took to the XL Energy Center this past weekend for the team and the individual. And Blaine was represented by a couple of wrestlers, as Luke Studer won the state title at 138 pounds. You see him in the semifinals getting the win. But a tremendous accomplishment from one of the most loaded weight classes in the state of Minnesota. Studer wins the semifinal there. He would go on to win the state title at 138 pounds. Cooper Larson took 5th place at 132. He would win that via forfeit, as you see him dominating in some of his early matchups at the X. And so swimming was another sport that had a state tournament this weekend. And they took to the pool to race. 200 medley for Spring Lake Park, placing 6th in the finals. And the 200 freestyle, Jace Dalton was 23rd in the prelim. As you see the Panthers relay team getting the medals. And then in the 200 freestyle, Jace Dalton, 23rd in the prelim, so did not end up making it to the finals. And then in the 200 IM, Sam Clark for Spring Lake Park took 12th place. And brought it home for the Panthers. And then Jace Dalton, 100 and fly. He was 26th in the prelim for Blaine. Nick Starcevich was 18th in the prelim in the 100 free. And then the 200 free relay, Spring Lake Park took 6th place again. So a couple of 6th place team finishes for the Panthers as they did some damage in the pool. And so some of our teams representing well at the state tournament time. And it'll be interesting to see if Centennial can make it back to the state tournament and if the boys can do some damage in Section 7, either Blaine or Centennial, as they enter postseason play and get further along here in March. But if you want to know what broadcasts are coming up as teams advance or don't throughout this, be sure to stay tuned to North Metro TV's channel, YouTube channel, and website. Check out our local listings to see what games may be available coming up. Until then, next time, it'll be Blythe and I next week in the Sports Den. Thanks for watching tonight. I'm Bill Hupp. Good night.